Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, welcome to the June 13th meeting of the City Council of Sidney, Nebraska, the greatest city in the world. We will start by reminding everybody we're going to do this in accordance to the Open Meetings Act, which is posted on the wall there if you want to read that in your leisure. We also need to excuse Mr. Radcliffe and Mr. Burke this evening. We have a motion for that?
Using Mr. Galloway,
What did I say?
Radcliffe and Burke.
Well, they're both going to be missing.
Galloway and
That's just one
Radcliffe.
person still.
Do you want to excuse both of them or just one of them
All
twice?
three of them.
Okay.
Yeah, I will motion to excuse.
Motion by Paul.
Second by me.
Okay, thank you.
Stroman,
Yes.
Sherman,
Yes.
Bonneberg.
Yes.
All right, motion passes. 3 in favor and 2 are absent. All right, now we got the meeting minutes. You guys read those. I'm sure there were no mistakes again.
I didn't see any.
I didn't.
I didn't check for spelling though, so.
I'm capable of that.
All right.
All motion.
Second.
All right, motion by Bonnegar, second by,
Sherman,
yes.
Bonneberg,
Yes.
Stroman.
Yes.
All right, now we will open it up. Are there members of the public that want to make some comments? We'll just skip right into Mr. Hy-Vee's Sidewalk Cafe permit. Can you come tell us all about it?
And- Oh, yeah, I was going to ask him to come up.
You want me to come up?
Go ahead, yeah, please.
Okay. All right, so we decided to put some tables outside of the coffee shop. And we ordered a custom coffee shop, or not coffee shop, but a table. So came up with a plan, then it's like, well, do we need like a permit? How much space on the sidewalk? Well, we uncovered you do need a permit to put a table on a sidewalk out front, so we filled out that permit and signed in. And you guys have a couple questions or not?
And that just goes straight to the city council?
Marshall went and reviewed it to make sure that we were still leaving the proper access for people traffic to flow through there, and they are, so now it has to come to you guys for final approval, so.
There's been tables there in the past, just don't ever be follow the law.
We appreciate you following the law, and we appreciate your business. So, any other questions?
I think it's a great idea.
Chance to walk by and see what we're
Yeah, I
at.
drove
It's
by.
not very big, but if you want to sit outside and have a cup of coffee or enjoy the fresh air.
Any day it's not raining, you can certainly do that. Well, actually, you have awnings.
We have all these, so you
Fine.
can sit there.
Well, perfect.
I motion to approve it.
All right. Motion by Stroman.
Second.
By Bondegaard. Roll call, please.
Bonneberg,
Yes.
Stroman,
Yes.
Sherman.
Yes. Thank you, Matt. All right. Right into Mr. Eric Johnson. And Mike, or one or the other, or just right to him.
I'll just take it away.
That sounds perfect.
Appreciate the council's time tonight. Eric Johnson, president of Santa Cruz Energy. And just want to say how excited we are about the project, the city, and potential addition of additional solar generation for renewable self-provided. And I believe from conversations with Mike, he has updated you guys on our conversations regarding the land lease for the additional mean generation at the site. Oakville, Bentonville. And just here tonight to talk through that with you all. And explain our thinking, where we're at, and walk through the economics around it. And I guess additionally, just Mike about this a little bit over the last few months. And actually have visited with Sarah Sinnott several times with the E3 group about finding us a building location in town to locate our operations and maintenance for San Jose Energy in the region. We've got a number of assets, including Sydney and Gary, Fort Morgan, and Alliance, Eastern Colorado, some projects in that area. And City of Sydney's been such a good partner for us. Other businesses in town, Adams, we've stored solar modules at Adams for some time now. They're going to be everywhere. And going back to 2014 when we started the initial development of the larger scale solar project that NextEra currently owns north of town. So we spent a fair amount of time in town and just excited about investing in the town additionally other than just building a couple megawatts for the city and potentially some additional generation for me. So with that, I guess the primary topic of conversation is the land lease. We had initially agreed to in the land lease the $500 an acre for the additional generation of renewable. The city has contributed land for your portion of the generation. And from communication with Mike that came from his council was a request to increase that land lease. If I'm communicating this correctly, certainly stop me or correct me if I'm not, but that you would like to see that land lease increased. And so we took that into consideration. And just for kind of the backstory of that, it really was kind of a three-way conversation between the city, Sandales, and me as the ultimate off-taker of the electricity. And when we put this project together, initially over 2 years ago, when we submitted pricing to their R&D call, the project was, I guess from a financial standpoint, a pretty solid project over the last 2.5 years. We've been kicked in the side of the head with inflation, as everybody has, and I've had significant cost overruns for the entire portfolio, not just Sydney's portion, but this portfolio is 16 different communities across Iowa, Nebraska, Colorado, and Wyoming. And so at this point, adding $200-300 of additional land lease would have a, not necessarily for just the Sydney project, wouldn't be that punitive, but in communications with me, if we're going to do it for one community, they would want to do it for all of the communities, which would have a pretty significant financial impact to the overall portfolio. And in communication with them, it was a request from us, if we were to increase the land lease, we would want to additionally increase the PPA price that they were paying for the electricity to cover that additional land lease. So we weren't stuck holding the bag, and they declined to increase the PPA to accommodate an additional land lease across the 4 communities that they have generation. And so that's where we stand at this point. Our request is to try to make the already determined $500 number work with the city, and hopefully the additional investment in the community by our company and adding some employees and some jobs in the city, opening a facility for this region will go a long ways in helping accommodate some of that. And I guess ask the council to take that into consideration. And Sandales is here to be a good partner. At the end of the day, if that's not going to work, then we probably have to pull additional generation from the site. And transparent about how we got here and how the decision was made. It's not us trying to be stingy to city and saying, you know, we're drawing a line in the sand by any means. But there are larger implications of making one change that affects the whole portfolio. So certainly take any questions, concerns, anything we can help address. The additional generation is important to us and the scale and economics of the project, so we're trying to figure out a way to make it work. Either way, we're probably stuck with the bag at the end of the day. So that's just is what it is. That's why I'm here talking to you all and to the council about how we can be good partners and make this work and everybody comes out ahead.
This additional facility, what's the time frame and amount of employees that would?
So we would look to have physical location in place by the end of the year prior to construction being complete on not only the city project but other projects in the area. We either hire from the community or bring somebody into the community. There's one employee before the end of the year, scale to 4 or 5 employees within the next 24 to 36 months as additional assets are built out in the region. And we do all of our own operations and maintenance of the assets. So for example, the city project itself doesn't require a full-time employee to maintain and operate. But collectively in the region, we certainly would have the need for 4 or 5 employees that we'd like to locate from here. So it's not contingent on a decision on the land lease. This is already in motion. To be clear. We're excited about a western Nebraska location. Our headquarters are in Omaha, so I grew up in Valentine, so it's nice to get out here, out of the city a little bit. So.
Are you looking for us to give you a number, or are you just wanting to have a conversation? So,
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a conversation at this point. I mean, the economics of it are such that, you know, we're requesting to stay at the $500 an acre number for the additional land needed for the new generation. And that, you know, that's an unacceptable number for the council. And, you know, we accept that and appreciate the consideration. We would like to locate that 2 megawatts elsewhere. Is kind of where we're at.
well, so you guys are paying Gehring 700? Okay. So, I mean, we're looking at it from a kind of a favored nations kind of perspective, where you're in other communities paying those prices. We know that land leases for these kind of projects exceed $1,000 an acre. And so we're kind of, I think where we're coming from is we're looking at the lowest end of that, where $500 would be far lower than a typical land lease. That's where we're coming up with these numbers.
Yeah, no, I mean, appreciate that, and I would agree that 500 is on the low end of where these leases typically are. I'm not arguing that at all. I would say 1,000 is definitely on the high end. I don't know if we've ever paid 1,000. Been in the 800 range for, you know, irrigated eastern Nebraska farm ground. You know, I think to be clear, I wasn't involved in the Gehring negotiations. Mike earlier, it's been a while since I've been in front of the council, so. But, yeah, I think the initial thought process with Gehring was, from discussions with my team, is that, you know, it's frontage property was being actively developed. It is irrigated ground. You know, comparing the value of the land, it is significantly different. The use is the same, so certainly understand that viewpoint, Councilman.
you're asking to tie up the ground for 35 years?
I think that's the lease term, is 35 years.
It's 25 years with 2 5-year options.
Okay,
But potentially 35.
35. All right.
The contract is for 25 years for power purchase, and then there's 2 5-year kickers on it if the contract's fixed.
Gotcha. So we're really only talking about maybe $100,000 at the life of the loan, right? Or the life of the lease?
Yeah, per se.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Across the portfolio, it's more like $1.3
Okay.
million.
How does that play out? How does 100,000 go to $1.3 million? Just out of curiosity.
Yeah, so basically, the mean generation, the cumulative mean generation is about 25 megawatts separated across 5 different communities. And we have 2 megawatts of that, 2.4 megawatts of that located here, proposed to be located here. So if we adjust the lease rate here, that translates to the other side as well, except here. That would account to about $1.3 million over the life of the project.
Do you think that other communities are going to have the same questions that we have? If you're paying someone else that amount, I would assume that everybody else is going to be requesting that amount.
They haven't at this point, which is why I think, if we did it for Sydney, we do it for everybody else at this point. We have one exception, we typically don't. Hearing. So this is where we're at this point.
You okay with trading a couple $100 for a OEM installer?
I think we're doing a disservice to the city by not following some of the other communities' pricing. But I don't know, maybe we can sit down and hammer something else out.
Is it possible that we could renegotiate the amount of time or the percentage that it goes up per year? Is that something that your company would be more amenable to than the $700?
I think the amount of time, the duration of the lease is really dictated by the contractual nature of the project itself, selling the electricity. So that would have for meter impacts and some additional land lease. So I think the duration of the lease is probably not on the table to discuss. In terms of the inflation rate, I think it comes back to, we would do that for all of the remaining communities as well, so it would potentially have a bigger impact actually in the out years.
That's the problem that comes from having agreed to hearing, right? Okay. Just looking to see what we can do for the contract.
Hey, Eric, I got one thought process. Is it Sandhills or is it Mean that is tied to doing this for all? Because, Mean is not really privy to the contract itself, so it's interesting to me that they're concerned about, they're really a third party. They're not even a third party in the contract. It's a contract with Sandhills. Or are they concerned that they're going to upset all their members?
Yeah, that's where the concern comes from, Mike. And to be fair, I think they're trying to keep the cost low for all their customers as well.
And we're going to buy back energy at some point, so.
Yeah, they're directly benefiting from that ultimately, but it's being spread across 60 directly back to the city.
So it's a 2% increase per year. I know on those leases as well go up to 3%.
They can in some cases, yes.
All right.
Anywhere from 1 to 3% is pretty standard.
Okay. So would 3% be something you would look at?
We would certainly consider it. I can't say that we could do it, Councilman. economics of the project, I mean, we would take that back to me and say, can we bump the escalation of the PPA to accommodate this additional cost that we're bearing by the community's request, your community's request, in order to make economics viable. And, going back to the cost increase, this price has been fixed for 2.5 years. And we haven't changed it. We haven't come back with a revision of price as our costs have increased significantly. That's something we've been pretty adamant about, is holding the price not only for the communities, but for me as a beneficiary and ultimately the beneficiary as well. So if we were to bid this again today, the price of power would be significantly higher in order to hit our internal return thresholds. So, it's a situation of trying to preserve as much of viability of the project economically as we can. And any additional cost that we would see from a land lease perspective, we have to pass that through to the ultimate off-taker of the power. And so, to Mike's point, they aren't a party of the agreement per se, but they would have to agree to.
But did you do that with Gary?
We did not. That was established at the same time that the pricing was set in the power contracts. It was already accounted for in the collective power contracts. So it's not a scenario of we're willing to take that additional cost necessarily. It was already accounted for, whereas this additional increase has not been accounted for to date. So.
Mr. Mayor, I would like to hear, if possible, from the city's electric superintendent, what Mike feels this extra $200 would either benefit or not benefit financially through the life of this agreement.
So you're talking about $2,400 a year, right? So actually, then we want this here. This is just grab this up.
Let's see. Prepared. Awesome.
Mike's on top of it.
So, obviously, at the $500 an acre, running this out for 35 years, I think the premise would be that we need to think of this project as being used for 35 years. That would be your ultimate goal, right? I understand it's a 25-year contract with 2 5-year options, but, so at the end of that 35 years, at the $500 an acre, you're talking about $300,000 lease payment in that period of time. If we went to that $700 mark that you guys already okayed us to, you're talking about $419,000. So we're talking about $120,000 that would come back to the general fund, not to the electric department. From the electric department standpoint, this would come with a generator interconnection agreement, which we would allow them to use our system to sell electricity. We would basically absorb that electricity within the city limits and use it here, and then it would back out on the mean side, and mean would just add it back to our bill in a nutshell. That's what would happen. Financially, it's really for the general fund. So we're talking about $120,000 over 35 years for the general fund, because that lease payment, I'm sure, would go to the general fund, not to the electric department, because it's the actual land that it sits on. As we discussed over the past of the last 2 or 3 months, it seems like every meeting, really one of the biggest detriments for us from the electric side is if Mean would ever raise that threshold from 5 to 10%. That was some of the stuff we discussed early on, right? Like that maybe Mean could assign that contract, and as we came back last meeting, that just doesn't seem like it's really if prices go up in that time frame, we're going to have to absorb that difference in cost because they would have to go take that power and find it someplace else. So, and any increase in cost they would see, we would absorb. If costs go down, we'd be silly to take a higher priced product. We'd be better to locate that someplace else. If we do nothing and Mean raises that threshold, this is a perfect piece of ground for solar. It is. It's relatively flat. I think Eric would probably tell you I would say it's shovel ready. I don't think there's going to be a lot of work there. So just from the electric side, if we don't do it, that's probably the biggest benefit, is that Mean goes from 5% to 10%. We can then use that ground for our own solar facility. Can we find ground someplace else? I'm sure. This is just an ideal spot. It's easily tied to our system. We don't have a lot of load out there that we have to worry about system impact and things of that nature. But really, that's what it is. So, to the financials, you're talking about $120,000 over 35 years.
Yeah, I would just commit that, we did raise their 10%, and you guys were interested in adding additional solar, and we were involved in that process. We would certainly remember this conversation and work with you all to make up for what is on the table today. So that's just my word telling you that at this point, but finding additional land, or Chuck was even throwing out some ideas of ballasted system, so over the old landfill, which.
That didn't sound real great to me.
I'm not committing to that. Yeah, we would certainly work with the city, we'd be in the city, have a presence here, for whatever that's worth.
And the land, oh, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
No.
So are you guys looking at buying a building or just renting a building?
Either, at this point, whatever's suitable and available. Is there a discuss it, come up with some options for us to look at, talk to the Adams guys a little bit about using some of their space if needed. They're pretty good at warehousing stuff, so we'll just continue to use their warehouses and just have our own facility in a standalone building, preferably in town.
And then from, so that is the city's land that we're going to lease for this term, or for this 35-year term. So if we don't, then this land basically sits there and doesn't earn any money, right? Is that correct, or are we, is there a
Essentially,
cost
yeah, it does,
opportunity
yeah.
for that land other than this?
Other than a possible future expansion from 5 to 10%, but we don't even know that's going to happen. So you're essentially right. It would just sit empty. We can't really. It's impossible to get utilities there because of the way that piece of land is. It's hard to get water and sewer there. You would have to go through a 1,000-year-old cemetery or under the underpass dealing with the railroad, and it's just not cost effective. You'd have to have several lift stations to ever build anything there that would not
So the best
need utilities.
use for that land would be a solar
Yes,
facility.
it is a great spot
But
for it.
To Mike's point, if we don't do this, we could actually build our own,
Well,
or,
that's assuming that Mean would raise their threshold.
Right.
Which is, I'll be honest with you, I think at some point, there's a lot of push, especially from the Colorado communities that want to have more renewable energy. And I would think at some point in the, I don't have a crystal ball, I wouldn't be here, standing here in front of you if I did, but, I think at some point they potentially will raise that threshold. When we raised it, initially remember our wholesale power contract basically says we have to purchase all our power from Mean outside our lock allocation. I don't know, was it 6, 7 years ago, they bumped that to 2% where they said, all right, a bunch of communities wanted renewable. Mean obviously has sunken assets there that they don't want to be heavy on energy. So at that time they said, if you you wanna go procure your own, go procure your own up to 2%. A year or two later, they bumped it to 5. At that time, I believe bond council was comfortable with 10%, but they kind of capped it at 5 to see how the, ebbs and flows went of the whole, how impacted, because it's gonna impact me financially as well, right? We're not gonna be buying that power from them, we're gonna be producing it ourselves, or buying it from Sand Hills now. But bond council was, and I could be mistaken, but I'm almost positive I remember having a conversation that bond council was comfortable at 10%. The board chose 5 to be conservative. Do I think it's gonna happen someday? I do. Is it 10 years? Is it 20 years? Is it never? I mean, it's a crapshoot. So, I know that's not really an answer to your question, but that's.
Well, I mean, that's.
It kind of is.
Yeah, I mean, because that's, if it was for certain, then maybe not going forward with it would be an option, but if we're not certain, then this is at least getting something on the land to lease and make money from.
Yeah,
So-
I mean, it's ultimately your guys' decision. I mean, it's, you just need to decide, is the $500 mark enough for that? Or if it's not, we can hold on to that land and see what Mean does in the future. Or maybe Sand Hills goes back to Mean and says, hey, we need to look at raising that PPA price, which will affect us as well, because obviously that's gonna be a pass, some of it will be a pass-through. All of it will be a pass-through. If they raise that PPA price, ultimately it will affect our wholesale power cost. That being said, if there's 5 communities that are doing this, it's gonna be somewhat subsidized, so we'll probably see more benefit from that, just because we're one of the people that the facility's sitting in.
So, just to make sure we're clear, so last meeting we talked about it, and we were good with the contract, but we just wanted to research to see if we could get more per acre for the lease. So, Eric was nice enough to come out here and talk to us about it, and then we're gonna vote to see if we want the lease or
That's exactly it.
not. All right.
Yep.
Do you have more questions, Paul?
I don't. I think that, I think, like I said, I think we would not be doing right by the city if we didn't, request that we were getting the same amount of money as the other communities, but I mean, I'm just one person over here, so.
One of 3.
One of 3, yeah.
So
2 are.
It would take all
You're-
3 too.
You're actually a little more important than you were with
Nah.
5.
I mean, if you're willing to sit back at the table and try and negotiate another price, can we do that, or?
Or 3%, absolutely.
Yeah.
You can certainly do that. I don't know what their timeline is. It sounds like it's going to be pretty tight if they'd like to be back in by the end of the year. But you guys meet again in 2 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, just.
I mean, look at it from our perspective, right?
No, I totally get it.
Yeah, so, I think maybe there's got to be a middle ground here, right?
Well, and it,
Potentially.
Okay,
if not, at worst, we sit on it and hope that Mean raises the allocation at some point.
yeah.
As Mike said, it's your guys' call. From our perspective, we would like to see the additional wind generation be built here. I wish I was delivering batteries and hours to ourselves as well, to the portfolio as a whole. We did hold our price, and we'll come back to that. And, not only for me, but also for the communities, at a rate that is significantly below market rate at this point, with the power that we are selling. Contractually bound by that, we signed that contract, but that has not been without pain on our side to cover that price and maintain our economics across the board. So certainly, share where we're coming from as well, and hopefully we'll be able to get this done. And if it's just not gonna work, or you wanna go back to the table and discuss, I can't guarantee that we would be able to accommodate any additional requests at this point. Our timeline is extremely tight at this point. We're closing construction financing, we're supposed to on Thursday, 2 days from now. And so we have to make some decision whether we keep this or, punt on it at this point, based on your guys' input and decision ultimately here today. Tomorrow, or if you have to reconvene, it's gonna be challenging probably to just keep it on the table as an option. That's just unfortunately where we are in the process. So it's a scenario of Sydney being a piece of a very large puzzle as it all fits together, and one puzzle goes missing, and the puzzle isn't complete, and we can't move on any of it. It can have significant impacts to the entire portfolio, not just Sydney. So it's a hard ask. I get that, right? Wish I didn't have to make the ask or be here. I am, and I'm here, and so that's just kind of where we're at.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, if we do not do this, though, you can't just take that 2.5 megawatts out of the portfolio from Means perspective?
No, we would have to.
You can do that.
Yeah, we would just keep your guys' 2 megawatts here that we're selling to the city. That 2.5 megawatts would go away. No amendment is needed.
From
And-
Means perspective, from between your guys' contract.
Yeah, between us.
But I'm
on
saying,
land lease.
if you take that 2.5 megawatts out, does it affect the Mean PPA?
Potentially, yeah. I mean, there's cost implications to that from a scale standpoint, so, which we would most likely bear all of that cost, so, that's part of the reason I'm here, asking, having this conversation, so.
I will say it's better him than me having this conversation.
I would agree.
Well, no, honestly, we appreciate both of your input, because obviously we've got there's lots of variables, lots of opportunity, lots of different ways you could look at it, and the price could go up, and you could change your mind in a couple weeks. So, I mean, do you have any other questions?
No.
Nope.
Any other input you'd like to?
Just thank the council again for the time and the consideration in front of you today.
Just checking to say
Oh,
if there's a motion or.
Is there-
well, I hate to beat a dead horse or anything, but it sounded like perhaps even saying we'd like you to go back and look at it may end the project altogether. Is that a possibility?
The additional 2.5 and look for an alternate location somewhere else for that generation, which would take time. I mean, we'd lose that generation. We would look to supplement it in a different location, different community, somewhere else. Which would be challenging at this point.
And the overall financial impact for the Sydney Electric Department, if that happened, would be negative?
It's 120 grand over 35 years for the general fund. between
Between what you...
dollar amounts. or
Yeah,
whatever.
between what they're proposing and what you guys okayed us to at the last meeting, it's $120,000 over 35 years.
Right, but I'm suggesting there's a third possibility. If we say you guys go back and talk about it and they say, you know what, it's not a deal, we don't even want to deal with it anymore, then we lose the 120 and the 299.
Then you lose the full 300,
Yeah.
or 35.
And that's what I'm saying. I mean, you know, we have the potential, and I get it. We could go back, we could go to his people, and they really got to do this. So go back and give them 700, and then they go forward with the project, and we get the extra 120, and everything's fantastic. But we're betting the other 300 on the fact that we get the 120 as well.
Essentially.
Which is a possibility. So I just want to be clear before we
Make a motion what it is.
that, you know, we're possibly going to ask Eric to go back and talk to his people, which could cut the whole deal out and end up losing the 120 and the 300. And then I suppose I can ask you what the possibility of that is.
I'd say it's more of a timing issue, Councilman, than it is even if there was willingness on our end, and ultimately means end to absorb that additional cost, which has been very reluctant to do so at this point, to be quite blunt. You know, being able to get that answer and then back to you all, for you guys to then approve that in time to get documents in place, would be pretty challenging. I'm not saying it's impossible, but
I mean, if you,
requires
if,
a special meeting. It couldn't wait till the next council meeting perspective, but the impacts would be significantly more than 2.5 megawatts, 5 million, another 2, 3, some whatever it took.
The council could approve it contingent upon a change, though, too. So that would already be approved if your group accepted it. Is that correct? And that would speed it along for you.
Yeah, that's probably a question you can answer, which I think you just
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
That actually, they've already approved it. I mean, they approved up to negotiate within those.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they did already approve that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did already do that.
I mean, you're saying it's time contingent, but if you decide to walk away, you're going to have to go out and try and do this build out at another site. So you're going to have to find an appropriate site that offers the same ground that we have. That's going to take incrementally longer than trying to flush out a new agreement with us.
Yeah, it just wouldn't be this portfolio of projects. It would just get red lined out. And when I say we would go replace it, Mean still has the capacity need, they still need the energy that they're anticipating or hoping to have here, this 2.5 megawatts. So they would look to us to ultimately go find additional generation beyond that. And they have additional generation needs beyond just the 2.5 megawatts over the next few years. So I'm not saying we would get under the same time constraints to replace the 2.5 megawatts, but the need would still be there for me. And they would look to us to find a replacement at some point in time, like at a higher cost. Unfortunately. So, it's not really a win-win. Nobody's really winning out of the deal, right? I mean, it's a the other all three parties.
And I don't know, you might be able to speak to this too. Some of Means hesitancy with not might, some of the reason they said, I can't remember when we approved that, did Brad mention anything, is that kind of?
I didn't communicate whether they would or not, but that was part of their consideration. There's additional cost that wasn't accounted for. We asked that to whether that would go back to you all to higher and why. There's indication of that.
So,
Anything else? I'm not going anywhere.
no, well, we appreciate you coming down, we appreciate you talking to us, answering all our questions, giving us as much insight as you can. Always appreciate it. We can get as much information.
All of you as well, and especially the city for staff in this process.
Thank you. So, it's been approved with the potential to negotiate. We want to just allow them to go back and see if we can do a little bit of increasing percentage.
Either that, or maybe we can increase it from 2% to 3%, something along those lines. I mean, but again, I think that we need to negotiate something. Right here, for the city.
So then, we would have a motion to allow them, or still approve, but negotiate up to 3% or 200 or a combination of the two.
Something.
Is that complicated enough of a motion?
3% or 700?
We already have the 700, they already did that last meeting.
Well,
But
they
now
just,
we're saying we would give up the extra 200 for an increase to 3%.
correct.
I don't know.
Or 100.
And I don't know the numbers on that either, I don't know what that adds to it.
What about 2.5 too?
We can run those numbers, all right? Oh, yeah, I mean, it's
Yeah, spreadsheet.
spreadsheet, it's not hard to do, I think, just get the 3%.
All I have is a hard copy right now, so I can't.
Is there a motion to accept the contract upon a increase in the amount of rent or percentage to equal the $200 a month? Is that right? Does anybody?
Or did you want a percentage up to 3%?
There you go. Up to.
Before that motion is made, though, I just want to be clear that that is what you guys are requesting. And if Mean comes back and says the answer is no,
It's done.
the
Contract's
project's
done.
dead. Just be sure that's what you guys are wanting. I mean, again, I'm not trying to sway you one way or the other, I just want to make sure that that's where we're at, essentially. Because we can't come back with you, I mean, you're not giving us the leeway to negotiate. That is our threshold, just as you gave us last meeting, the 700,000. With the guy sitting right here, he'll tell you what he thinks, so.
Well, I think we have to have the ability to negotiate. That I think, that you guys can sit down and hammer out something that's fair for both parties. I personally think 500 is fair for us as a city, but I think that we can come up with something that's for everybody. I think you agree with that. Alluded to it, and there he goes.
We could bump the city's PPA rate, increase the
I don't think that's a positive.
I mean, that's
Essentially
kind of
what
what I'm saying.
what happened, actually, yeah.
We held that price for 2 years, 2.5 years for the city. And
Yeah,
He
that,
was
you know, you
that
don't,
better.
you don't want to do that.
Yeah.
You don't
We
want
don't want
that.
them to increase it.
No,
Well,
no.
that's kind of trying to make a point of a little bit, I guess, maybe.
Well, I'm just saying, it's not a possibility, and if it is, what's the financial impact of that?
It would not be good.
Significant for you guys.
To our detriment.
Yes, you don't want to do that.
We're locked in with our PPA price, and to Eric's point, they have held that price steady for, we've been talking about this project for a long time. And not, means generation aside, the city of Sydney's, that was 2 years ago.
It's been a while.
That's like 2 years ago. They didn't raise that price when we went through that process.
When would be their next opportunity?
It's locked in. It's a
35 years.
Power agreement for 25 years. That's
Okay,
the,
well,
that's Sand Hills and the city of Sydney's. We're really not discussing that. That's already been decided. That's happening no matter what. We've got signed contracts.
That's all I was getting at, I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
So again, we have a possibility of approving it with amendment, or not approving it at all. Again, my
There's a
thoughts.
motion on the floor.
What's that?
There's a motion on the floor, so you're waiting for a second.
Yes, oh yes, for the agreement to negotiate.
I'll move.
You want a second?
Oh, second.
Okay. So, roll call?
We're approving to just renegotiate the contracts with either an increase in, the possible increase of 3%. Is that correct?
That's,
Okay. Because you're not taking 7 up. You've made that clear. Correct. Okay. All right. So if there is a 3% increase though, on that, could you negotiate that?
I can't guarantee that, Councilman, but I can certainly, we can certainly consider it if that's the council's decision.
Okay, but that's not not going to, if we can't negotiate that, then we can,
then it's dead.
then it's dead. Is that kind of the way we're looking at this? Pretty much.
Unless we can just do it very quickly, right? And it's, I mean, unfortunately, there are other things working against us in this scenario, timing being
What's quickly? Tomorrow? 3 days from now? 3 days Friday?
by the end of the day tomorrow.
Another meeting by then?
Mike and I just go grab a beer and try to figure it out.
That's kind of what
I don't want to be part of that.
But I mean, essentially, if we approved it, with those stipulations, you could talk to your people and say tomorrow that, yeah, we either do or don't, right?
It's either dead or it's a go.
Means still.
I mean, from our perspective, it's a decision. We go back to me and say, here's what happened. They're asking for this. That has this amount of financial impact on the portfolio to do this across the board. So we need to raise the PPA rate X amount. If they say no, then it's our decision our contract,
But there'd be nothing binding to you, Sam,
To increase it,
to increase everyone.
right. That's mean that saying they would want that, but you guys don't have to. You can choose not to.
True.
And that would allow you to negotiate with us just as you did with Gary.
You still have the same three options.
You have a motion on the floor, and as I understand it, it is that you will accept the contract contingent upon the annual percentage increase raising to 3%.
Yeah, I think if we could just renegotiate it, I think that would work. I think you guys are on the same page. I mean, it sounds like you don't really want to, but, I mean, we're in the same position. Don't want to get both of them.
yeah, I mean, I would love to offer 700 or a rate increase, but it costs a lot of money to do that. And you guys look at it from the standpoint that there's an upside to this that you're asking for, which I can appreciate as well, so.
Did Brandon second that motion?
He did.
Yeah.
So, 3% is what we have written down.
I don't want to kill the project. We just want to make sure that we are doing what's right by the city and that we're negotiating fairly.
But the $200.
I don't know how you promised that it wouldn't, though.
Are there any other things available, that concessions available that you believe you could offer Sydney to benefit them, that might not be these monetary things that we are singled out? And we're down to 2 things in this contract. Are there other options that could be used to compensate Sydney that would allow this deal to go forward?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think I talked about some of it, in our already plans of solution for getting a permanent facility here and hiring for the community. Wherever we have a facility, we do participate charitably in the community. Whether it's the hospital foundation or the community foundation or just sit in our offices and collect the check from the utility department and become a part of the community and do contribute to the community financially outside of what any contract says. So, the number we're talking about here for Sydney, the difference in the lease rate isn't a big number as Mike pointed out on an annual basis. So, it's standard for Sand Hills to contribute that or more charitably in a community on an annual basis anyway. So, this for that, that's something we do with having cities generation already here.
So is it possible that we could put language in this agreement that said that Sand Hills intending is not necessarily something that's going to hold your feet to the fire, but it certainly makes the intention clear that you intend to have X amount of employees within X amount of time, and that it is your intent to contribute to the community?
Absolutely, I would advise not putting it in that contract per se.
Sure.
But,
But like a memo of understanding that we could do separate?
communicating that on public record, that's what our plan is.
Okay, Jeff, you got something?
My question would be, the employees that you intend to put in place, are they
it's not even
Yeah.
considered.
I mean, if, you're not gonna give us guarantees that you're gonna have 5 people working there, 50,000 plus a year, can't guarantee it. So,
You have my word, standing here in front of you, so that's our intention.
I
Would
don't,
it be okay if I specifically, I mean, we're all working in here, I'm the director of the public library. I have anywhere from 2 to 5 people a day coming into the library looking for books. And I have nothing on right now, except, like, well, hey, I know the gas station down the street's hiring part-time for $10 an hour. So even the potential of a job that is full-time like this is something to seriously consider.
I think either way, though, they have to vote on the motion.
That's
Even
correct.
if they want to kill it and do
That's
something
right.
different, right?
Yes, so, I mean, what, so you read it that way. The city accepts the contract contingent on the annual percentage increase, being changed to 3% as opposed to 2%.
do we have to vote on a specific change, or can we just vote on renegotiating? Like, does there have to be a specific number
Well,
to that?
if you don't have something, then you don't have any way for this to be,
No, not really.
we can't get a final answer for them so they can move forward. They've already told us that the time, we've got to have something that we know specifically so that we can say yes or no with, when they come back. Or they can say yes
Because we
or
can't
no
go
when
to,
we go
we
to
can't
them.
go to another meeting. yeah.
Right, and we can't call a meeting fast enough because you have to give 24 hours notice.
You essentially have to either give them the exact amount that you can say yes or no to after the fact, or give them something that you agree to tonight.
So, I mean, you can change what you've got here. What you've got is 3. You could change it to 2.5. You could ask that there be a memo of understanding that talks about their intention of what they're going to bring to the community so that you can show that the city that you were doing those things.
We can do that. It sounds like he's not gonna negotiate outside of whatever's on the table right now, but, am I correct?
I don't think he has the authority to,
Yeah.
correct?
I mean, I have the authority for Sandy Hills to negotiate that, but from
No.
the financial impacts to us are such that we would have to go back to the meeting to absorb that cost. And ultimately, it's on them to decide if they want to absorb it. And whether that has to go to the board for approval, and then come back and say, yeah, we'll absorb it, and then I can say yes, or I have to make the decision that we will absorb that cost, just us.
And you've already said that, that's probably not going to happen.
I guess,
Okay.
literally, I know what you're saying. Your intention is to bring X amount of business to the city.
Okay.
Make it
So,
seem like we're.
we have to vote on the motion, which was.
Right, we have a
3%.
motion and a second. You can do a roll call, and if you choose to not do this, then don't vote yes. And then it'll die for lack of passing. And then you can do another motion that talks about the memo of understanding. Okay,
Okay.
so,
Roll call, please.
Okay, so the motion was by Stroman and Brandon, okay. Okay, Stroman,
No.
Sherman,
No.
Bondemore.
No.
Motion does not pass. 3-0. 2 abstentions, or 2 absences. What we're looking for now is a motion, pass the contract as is, I might just add to that. If mean does, so to give you guys a little more comfort, if this is your wishes. If mean does raise that threshold from 5 to 10%, and say they don't come through with what they say in that memo of understanding, we probably don't work with them. So, I mean, it's kind of, it might give you a little more comfort in this scenario.
Well, and I certainly think that by requesting the memo of understanding, you are conveying to Sandhills that you believe them, you know? That memo of understanding is your faith in what they say. So,
I motion.
Motion by Baumgart. Second by Washington.
Okay, Sherman,
Yes.
Baumgart,
Yes.
Stroman,
Motion passes 3-0.
that was a lot of work.
Who drafts that?
The memo of understanding, I'll be, yeah,
And you will draft that?
we'll work together.
Okay.
If you'd given my, yeah, thank you.
Joe went on a police call and came back.
It was a lot of work.
All right, so thank you, Eric, thank you, Mike, for your input. So now we can talk about resolution 02-30601, housing development incentive plan. Mr. David Scott.
Okay. What we're putting together here, and there's a reason for the reason behind this madness, but just for a little background, as you know, we've been talking about housing and trying to track development for a very long time now. We started in 2021 with a housing study, which was done, and no developer will come to the community unless you have a housing study that officially shows the need, which is done. We also did a blight study in 2022, identifying portions of the city that we would like to build in, and that's us opening them for incentives, which we did do. We also passed this council passed 2 TIF agreements, one specifically targeting range and one specifically targeting workforce housing, in case we were granted developer, they would have that already in place. We also went out with a workforce housing grant, the amount of $1 million, $5,000 match. So we've been working very hard on this. The biggest thing I think that opened a door for us is when I worked with Jordan Dietrich at WAED. We went to Lincoln to the Housing Expo and got a lot of good contacts there. And I do think we have a developer that is ready to purchase land and start developing in the city. Problem is they're just not quite there with the landowner. They're a few thousand apart, which means that they want to pay for the lots, and the landowner wants to sell the lots. So they reached out to me and said, is there any way the city can incentivize that last little hurdle to get us to where we want to be? And honestly, I have not got the instructions yet from the state to set up a workforce housing program. I don't know when those should be coming soon, I hope. But then we still have to get the funds deposited in the account and figure out how to operate that account. And I'm thinking bigger than that. So I was having a conversation with Lincoln Director at Mike Palmer, the electric superintendent, and we came up with this plan to put a 2-year, I guess, moratorium, if you will. 2 years we will waive the cost recovery fees and the permitting fees, which comes to about, I think, about $4,800, just short of $5,000 for any developer that we wanted to build a single or multiple family dwelling in the city. I called them back and told them that, and they said, well, the council said, agrees to that, I think we'll be there. And I think this is going to be very helpful with other developers as well. It would give them an extra $5,000 of negotiating room when they're trying to purchase lots from those who own them here in the city. So I'm asking you guys to move forward with this. I think it would be a good idea, great way to incentivize. And honestly, we raised, $5,000 per lot. And this is only in the areas where we already have infrastructure, right? Of course, we're not gonna put in water and sewer and electric and build streets for somebody. This is only in the areas where that already exists.
Marshall about this too, and I just want it to be clear that this does not circumvent our permitting process. Someone would still have to come in and follow the permitting process and follow our code and build any single multiple family units to whatever our city code and state requirements say, but just would be no fee for us.
So we're essentially eliminating these fees on those properties that we already have the infrastructure.
Not, normally, like, let's just say water alone, I think it's, water alone is 1,800, something like that. I can't remember. Water was 1,800, so that would just be $1,800 our water department would not collect if the house was on the so they just pay for our water where it was already, the main was already there. We just would not collect that cost recovery. In the long run, somebody paying a water bill or electric bill or property tax or, over probably the first year would easily cover that anyway. But there should be a fee for these kind of things, and honestly, city's very low. $5,000 to hook up to your existing infrastructure is actually pretty reasonable. But I'm also willing to negotiate that too if it will help them bridge the gap. And I just
So if we change these fee schedules, then obviously, you've got a developer or more that's interested in coming to start building houses, but that developer only comes and that's 50 of them, this is still open for anybody. So
yes, it would be.
I could try to build my own house.
You could.
It'd be a horrible idea. But I would also, these fees are waived on that property for everybody.
It would not change our fee schedule. Our fee schedule is still in place, it just waives those for now.
Well, I do agree that we need to incentivize people to build houses one way or the other. It sounds like a good idea to me.
I move.
You move to pass a resolution to we have a motion by Stroman,
I second.
second by Vondergaard.
Bondegar,
Yes.
Stroman,
Yes.
Sherman.
Yes.
Think she was catching on.
It sounded like the same thing. I think
Like excusing Bert and
I guess I did it first. So the motion passes 3-0 for resolution 202-3601. And one of the fastest agenda items of the evening. David's attempting to beat that record with his ambulance service and local agreement. There we go. Told my wife I'd be home by 7, so she can.
The next item is ambulance service interlocal agreement between the city, the county, and Moore County Hospital. Well, you probably heard a couple months ago, I think everybody's heard Regional West is canceling their contracts, they canceled them with Oglala, they canceled them with Sydney. And in that contract, there was only a 60-day notice for them to do so, which it ends at the end of this month. So July 1st, there will be no agreement for emergency service ambulance services in Sydney or Cheyenne County if we don't take action of some sort. Now, the county commissioners did put this out to bid. They asked for anybody, any qualified people who want to take over this service or do it for the city and Cheyenne County. And they got two bids. One was from, I think it was in Lexington, I can't quite think of the name of it, Premier or something. Priority, that's right. And their bid was, they were really asking for a lot of incentives. They wanted to be reimbursed quite a bit. They were almost starter what they were asking for, like $75,000 a quarter. So we would be paying $3,000 a year. The other bid was from Gould County. They came in and they said they would take it over and they would do exactly the same way we've been doing it, no change. In fact, even the same equipment and the same employees, thus saving the jobs here in But the one thing that they wanted to ask from the city and the county was it's about $240,000 for equipment. The ambulances are about $100,000 each, and that's what Regional West is wanting to get from them. They're not negotiating on that. And then about 40,000, just short of 40,000 in equipment. Moore County said they would pay for the equipment. They would pay for 40,000 or whatever portion of that equipment they negotiated with Regional West. But they wanted the county and the city to help them purchase the two ambulances, 2017 and 2019. I did ask the county commissioner meeting if these ambulances would last for a 5-year loan, and they said they would. At some point, they would put a new chassis on and more with them, but they thought that they would last the life of a 5-year loan. Originally, I think they wanted us to, the county to buy one and the city to buy one, but we don't necessarily want to get the business of owning ambulances. I don't think that, a lot of regulation in there that I think is quite better left to professionals. So in talks with them at the county commissioners meeting, they said they would be fine with us loaning them, the county loaning them $100,000 and the city loaning them $100,000 to buy both of those ambulances and then paying it back over the, they just don't have the upfront money. But they want to do this, but they don't have the upfront money. So that's what they're wanting to do. And we need to get an interlocal agreement in place fairly quickly. The county commission has already voted to approve this. The council, and I guess I don't really have an agreement for you to approve. If you tell me, yes, we would do this, then on the 20th, Moore County will convene their board, and if they say yes, then we will all approve. And then we will draft an interlocal agreement in a matter of days between the 20th and the 1st of July, so that we will still have ambulances starting in July. So that's kind of where we're at now.
So the financial implications, we basically have, we have to get a really good idea of that.
Yeah.
So we had 2 offers. One of them was about $600,000 a
Yeah,
year.
they were wanting a lot of subsidies,
And it would probably be, they had to bring in their own employees.
I believe so, yeah.
This other option, they keep the same employees that are here. And we just have to loan them money that they're gonna pay back. And this is for how long?
It'd be like 5 years. That's why I think it's 5 times.
So the financial implications, we just gotta,
Upfront the money for them to do ambulances. And I don't know, are those ambulances worth $100,000 each? I don't know, but here's the thing, Regional Waste kind of have them and us over a barrel because you're about a year and a half to 2 years out on the So, there's that.
yeah, I think it took us, how long did it take us to get that fire truck?
Oh my God.
2.5 years?
Yeah, and then the landfill truck, that was a year and a half.
So, and this is Morrow County Hospital. that's offering this, or is it?
What is the name of that outfit? It's Morrow County Hospital.
Morrow County Community Hospital is what you have down.
Morrow County Community.
Okay, but it's not the county.
No, it's not the county, it's not the county.
So there's only a few hospitals around that can even offer that service.
Right.
Morrow County Hospital, Morrow County Community Hospital.
No, the county of Morrow is not
Right.
involved in any way in this. It's the outfit that owns Morrow County Community Hospital. And I will point out that while our local officers are not putting in bid, they are covering, are allowing us to continue to use their spaces. Part of their facilities. So they do have a place to park and operate that.
So basically, we're gonna continue the same service.
Even the same people.
Put them alone for a little bit.
Yeah.
Questions?
Has there been any discussion about interest rates or payments or
Oh, I'm
anything
sorry,
like that?
interest free. We did talk about that. There would be interest free. Oh, I'm sorry, thank you for bringing that up.
I hope not.
Yeah, well-
But,
Well, not tonight.
yeah, I mean, things could get worse. But, no, it is a service that provided. We have a fantastic police force. And, what else do we provide?
Fire.
Fire.
hang on, I was turning.
Are we approving, you said that we weren't.
I don't have a resolution or ordinance or
We just
even an
agree.
interlocal agreement, kind of, but can we still vote to say move forward?
I don't think they have to vote, they just
just
need
tell
to,
me.
yeah, tell you that, yes, you're supportive of that, and,
Yeah.
yeah,
Keep up the good work. Okay.
There you go.
That's all we need. All right. We will have an agreement as soon as the last piece falls in the council. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Lane, I need you to review all 55 pages of the budget report, please.
I'll try to take as long as there.
Oh, my God.
Do one better for you, Brad. I told my daughter I'd try to make you read all tonight.
Did you get an update that you went?
I don't know. Better than the stock.
Right.
1 and 6.
We were fair.
1 and 6.
We were fair, and we were trying.
That's all we ask.
Yep.
I had a little more.
Kick him in the leg.
So anyway, going over the budget reports, I won't spend a bunch of time with the general fund property tax variance year to year, pretty consistent. Sales tax, you can see that we're 94% through the year so far. Obviously, the water part of that today. Big one from a couple months ago. Still no word on whether or not we're going to get a refund for that yet or not. I guess we'll see what happens. Fees for service are slightly ahead compared to previous categories. Previous years, I suppose. State and federal, slightly behind where we were a year ago. Starting to see some state increase. And the franchise managers. General fund overall, we're up $995,000 on the year. Again, a large part of that's that sales tax. Street, take out the sales tax that they received, they're still up $292,000 on the year. Electric department is up $150,000 on the year. Water department, usually the winter months aren't great. We've had a lot of rain, so they're still operating in the red. People aren't in the grass yet, but maybe they're going to stop it. But it is better than last year. Last year at this point we were up 124,000. Sewer is up $28,192 for the first time in operation in the last fiscal year. Probably for a month. Call that a win. And the landfill, despite some issues with maintenance on vehicles and equipment, still up $170,000 on the year. So I do want to touch base on transportation part of the works. You'll notice on the financial statement, part-time salaries are have exceeded the budget on the fiscal year, still at 33% of the fiscal year. Casey and I hear something to pick on a little bit. He wanted me to share these right numbers with you guys though, to explain why that is. If you look at that chart there, I think you've got it in color, that blue line is the right level so far for this year. You can see every single month is not quite there. Obviously, there's also the issue of that dispatcher issue. Running so much, and the state has also been busy on reports, which is running so much, so we feel like that's on the part-time drivers. And again, that is being reimbursed through the state, so we have that reimbursement of 25% or 75%, so we're out of the $40,000 that we pay this year, actually just wanted you guys to be aware of that, and that will obviously continue to increase. He is telling us that typically go down a little bit, so I think water rates and school fees. Spring, so the summer months, it's just lower. And we do have a dispatcher who's scheduled to start at 219, so I would anticipate that Christmas training. Any questions?
Went through your 3 pages just like you told us. All right. Got a motion to approve those? I will. Motion. Mr. Strong on the motion.
I'll second.
Second, roll call.
Stroman,
Yes.
Sherman,
Yes.
Bondegard.
Yes.
Excellent. Motion passes 3-0 for those excellent budget reports. Now we have claims. Bert Didham is not here to defend himself, so we'll call him.
good. I'll move.
Second, motion by Beauregard, second by Stroman.
Sherman?
Yes.
Bonnegar?
Yes?
Showman?
Yes.
I have a few things. I guess I'd like to say that we went with Sydney Watershed Coalition, Galen, and Ryan Reisdorf and myself, and Mike Palmer and Lane Kazire. We walked the Jesuit Ditch, which we do every spring, to see how it's doing and see how the grass is growing. And this is the best year we've ever seen. It looks fantastic. The grass has been growing really good there. And so it is finally taking hold. I know we had some struggles with that for a while. In fact, we even had to hold off on the last couple payments on that project for a while because it was not seeded as well as it should have been. But it is finally looking very good. I will tell you this though: be careful if you're walking in because there are rattlesnakes down there. We did discover that. Thank God nobody was injured. Galen was very close to getting injured. And who knew Mike had so much aggression?
I don't like snakes.
He does not like snakes. We found that
Is
out.
he a goner?
He did a job on it.
The threat of the snake is bad.
So anyway, no, that project is finally starting to shape up nicely. And I wanted to also say that a shout out to all the people on the Gold Rush Committee. I thought that was an amazing event this weekend. It's the largest I've ever seen there. Honestly, you can't even really just drive by and see it from the street like you used to. You have to park and go there because there's so many vendors and so much going on. It was very cool. And then the first Downtown Sounds will be Friday. So everybody come downtown for that. And the only other thing I had to say, and I think this is, we talked to Ryan Watchhorn at WTA, and he is fine with us speaking about this. And we have, Jay is now working with Worldwide Trophy Adventures attorneys to draft 2 agreements for building sales. And as you guys know, our property, the one that used to be house UST Global, they since ended their lease about 3 months ago with us, so that building is empty and the city owns it. Worldwide Trophy Adventures was interested in that property, and so we worked out a deal with them. Our building, or that building, the one on 13th in Illinois, was appraised at $1,092,000, and the Worldwide Trophy building that sits between the wastewater treatment facility and the hospital was appraised at $575,000. So the deal we've worked out with them is we will give them our building, and they will give us their building essentially. So it's 2 sale agreements, I believe, Jay. But that's essentially what we're doing, is we're swapping buildings with them. Since ours is valued way more than theirs, the other caveats that come with this, and this is just for the public, when WTA or Worldwide Trophy Adventure first started hiring all their employees, they signed up for some LB 840 job creation incentive money, which still has about $275,000 left for us to pay them out over the next 3 years. They were willing to just wipe that out as part of the payment back to us on the difference between what their building is worth and what our building is worth, which is a huge advantage to us because, as you know, we can't put money into our LB 840 fund. It has to be what the voters have decided. The only way for us to do that is if it was a donation, like sometimes we get monies from the Nebraska Community Foundation here and there to help with economic development. But other than that, we cannot put any other property or sales tax into that account. So that does give a nice $275,000 boost into our economic development fund that I'm sure Jeff Clare will find a good use for. Also, we asked to retain the south parking lots, the ones that are directly across from that street, because I think we're working with Kimball County Transit to do a park share there. And also it's a fantastic place for parades and things like that we can use. We can use that as a city public lot for a lot of good reasons. And so I don't remember what those were praised at. I got to remember, but they had asked for us to reduce $92,000 for that, thus leaving them a payment to the city of $150,000 in cash. So that's the end of that deal. We do plan on moving our police department out of the old Tasty Freeze building and into the WTA building, which I'm super excited about, and I know that the police department is super excited about. So that deal is at the attorney level now. As soon as they get a, I'm sure Jay, and I don't know who their attorney is now. Is it, oh, I can't think of the name now.
Sure, I could have told you.
I know, Jake, yeah, that's right. They will come up with something that we will vote on at some point here in the next meeting or two, and we will move forward with that. So, just so the public knows what all is happening with this. So, I think it's a great deal all around. There's so many wins in this because Worldwide Trophy not only wants to move in there, but I think they want to have some other businesses in there with them, which gives a life to that building again. There'll be cars in the parking lot, businesses there. We will have a suitable building for our police department, money in our economic development fund, and a little bit of cash to spend to make that police department what we need it to be. So, I don't know. I appreciate the council for your negotiating prowess on that. All day. So that's all I have for my comments. That is public knowledge now since they are willing to let us talk about that.
Okay, we'll go around the room. Autumn, since the chief relocated, you're first. Maybe go to Lane's, got you by putting my hand.
I would walk anywhere with Mike as long as he's got a shovel.
I would feel safe.
It sounds like it's a pretty safe guy. I like
It's
that.
safe to be around with a shovel.
Mike, you want to elaborate on that? Glad to be alive?
Not much left of the snake.
That's awesome. Anything else?
I used all my words for the day.
Marshall, we've hardly heard from you all tonight. And that's
Shall remain.
All right, fantastic. Jeff?
It's exciting to see piles of dirt from the hospital.
Yeah.
Really exciting. And,
Yeah.
all the property on Daily Drive is under contract or been purchased by the developers.
Major developers purchasing property in town. What a wonderful deal. All right. Amber? Yeah? What did you? Yeah, you're-
Amanda.
Amanda. I'm so sorry. I know. I'm so sorry. Will you ever forgive me?
The library summer reading program is in full swing, and if you want to be a part of it, you need to sign up by June 30th. Prices are actually quite awesome. The community has been very generous, and we're super grateful.
Joe?
Nothing to add. First budget, development.
Yes. It sounds even tougher than the old Tasty Freeze building, if you say it that way. Brandon?
Nothing.
Paul, did we already out? I'm good. Oh, fantastic. I've got a whole page. All right. One thing I forgot, I promised Lori, I didn't promise Jay yet. I promised Lori I'd let you girls talk, because we just silenced you the whole time. Do you have anything you'd like to add?
The farmer's market,
Well, fantastic. When's that
June
gonna happen?
24th. Starts at 8 o'clock, ends at noon. Be until the last Saturday in September. We have 18 vendors signed up so far.
18. What was the most we had last year? Seems like we had a lot less than that. It was about 500 or 600.
I do not know what the count was. I wasn't prepared for that.
Anything else? Well, nice work on that. Jay, you want to give any free legal advice?
I used all my legal advice earlier. I'm done.
We appreciate getting our money worth. To David's point, Gold Rush Days, I spent the whole day there Saturday, and it was fantastic. We couldn't squeeze another booth in around that park. It was awesome to see everybody there, and people coming and taking part of that. The Take Back Fitness obstacle course was fantastic. I have to brag a little bit. I did finish the course. Mike has some video if you want to see it. I actually posted it on Facebook a couple of times. So you want to feel good about the shape that you're, the physical shape that you're in, just watch that video. It will help tremendously. But yeah, it was a great time. There was something going on there from Friday night until Sunday was kind of rough, but it was fantastic. I want to thank Eric for driving all the way over here and dealing with us all evening, and staying to the end of the meeting. It's impressive. And then don't forget to put your pink trash cans out tonight with the lawn bucket zone. Every other week is about all I get it out there. There will be a play at the Elks Peter Pan, July 14th, 15th, and 16th. And watch those kids. They're working really hard almost every night. And again, Downtown Sounds. And then, we're still doing this YouTube thing? We're on live tonight? Is there anybody watching? Okay. So I need everybody to promise to keep a secret. Next Tuesday's Roger's last meeting. We're going to have a surprise party for him at the Elks after the conclusion of this. So people can go start, maybe the Elks can get it up on the big screen. They can sit in there, drink, and watch the city council meeting and wait for Roger to come in. But we're going to lure him over there after the meeting, so if we can just all keep quiet and tell Roger about this. But yeah, a lot of hard work from 2012, he was appointed.
2013 when he had served before, but 2013 is when he
Officially
stuck his
seat
feet in.
mayor. Was the mayor for 4 years, the 50th mayor of the city of Sydney, if I remember correctly. Somebody count. But yeah, and so I will end with, we are, see you, Joe. State Statute 32-569 tells us exactly what we need to do to fill that vacancy. Lori is accepting applications, and we will peruse through those applications and bring one of the finest citizens in front of the council on the 27th that sees. So we're taking those applications until the 23rd. So if you're interested in serving,